Good morning, everyone. Simon Clark, who's speaking here. Michael is busy in the booth. I'm a colleague of Michael. We're in the process of merging Jervois with M2 Cobalt. So my current title is CEO of M2 Cobalt, and I'll take you through what we believe is going to be a great platform for a mid-tier, multi-jurisdictional battery metals player. And what we're looking to do is bring together a very deep technical team on the Jervois side, with a hub in East Africa developed by M2 Capital, some extremely exciting exploration assets, but also a couple of major opportunities in the East African region to develop some major assets and re-energize previous mines. So we think what we're putting together here is a great platform and a good way for investors to have a pure play battery metals company initially focused on the nickel and cobalt side. So in terms of the deal itself, it's a friendly merger. We decided that 1 + 1 really could make 3. And I'll explain more of that as we get through. And what it ends up with, Jervois is the larger player in the merger. The resulting company will be called Jervois, and we will retain listings on both the ASX and the TSX in Canada. The CEO of Jervois, Bryce Crocker, and the chair, Peter Johnson, will both remain in their current roles, and we'll have a board of 4, of which 1 will come from M2 Cobalt. So we're pretty excited. Our shareholders have already provided lockups for over 50% voting in favor of the deal. So from our perspective, the deal is done. We're already working as one group. Formally, the court process is due to conclude in early May, and at that point, the deal will be formally completed. So I won't take you through that. I think this is just a little snapshot, obviously, of what adding the 2 companies together does on a pro forma market cap basis. Gives us a market cap of roughly just under $80 million. And you can see the enterprise value. We end up with about $10 million in cash and cash equivalents on the balance sheet to keep moving forward on the projects that we currently have. Jervois also has a number of royalty streams and liquid investments. So as we move forward, we don't have any need for short-term capital raising to do what we're looking to do. As I'll point out as we go through, we have some major opportunities that we're working on that would require additional capital, and we would look to come out and find that project or a corporate capital at that time. So moving forward, won't dwell on that. So I think, obviously people are critical components, and really, first off, why we believe this merger works. On the left, you have, I'm not sure this thing has a pointer. No. On the left, you've got the Jervois team. As you can see, very deep technical background. Most of them are ex-Glencore. Peter Johnson, for example, ran the global nickel side of Glencore for 4 years. Bryce Crocker, the CEO, comes out of Xstrata, helped take that public at an IPO value of $2 billion, and then sell it to Glencore several years later at $40 billion. So the vision is to replicate a lot of what was done there and take a platform, make it multi-jurisdictional, and really focus on the battery mineral side. So very deep on the development, production, metallurgy, and the downstream side. And what we bring on the right is a lot of exploration expertise. We also have a hub in East Africa. We have 30 people on the ground in Entebbe in Uganda. And my colleague Jennifer Hinton, who's on the list there, critical player for us. She's been in Uganda for 13 years, went in there with the World Bank. Highly underexplored jurisdiction for historical reasons, and she's built a team. She's put together some really intriguing assets. We're right on the border with the DRC. Obviously, 60% of world's cobalt supply comes from there. So have a big exploration program ongoing in Uganda. Very quickly, it's all about location, location, location. To the west there, you've got the DRC. You've got the amazing Katanga copper cobalt belt in the south there, and then all the base metal and amazing gold mines. Uganda in the middle is highly underexplored. Because of our position in country, we are the first mover in terms of cobalt exploration, and again, there was significant production back in Uganda in the day as well, and we've locked up a lot of assets around that form of production, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward here. You can see our asset blocks there. We have a collection of assets around the former Kalimbe mine, and I'll talk more about that. And then we have some assets right in the middle of the country where the Twangiza trend out of Katanga from the DRC meets the Kibali trend coming out of the north of the DRC, which is the main gold trend. So highly prospective, 2,400 square kilometers of land. We spent $5 to $6 million last year on a major exploration process, identified some really high-profile targets with up to 1.7% cobalt, 1% copper, and nickel up to 0.5% in 3 different styles of mineralization. So we're very excited about what we've seen. The merger with Jervois brings in not only deep technical expertise to help us as we move that program forward, also strengthens the balance sheet. So what we've just launched here is a 6,000 meter drilling program to test 3 or 4 of the key targets that we developed during last year's exploration play. So our goal, simply put, in terms of exploration in Uganda for next year is to find the next major discovery. These are large assets and large-scale potential, and so again, we're looking for the first discovery in Uganda in 30, 40 years. So we're excited. It's a good fit with Jervois, and I'll talk about Jervois has a very large core asset in Australia, and again, you're sort of seeing the jurisdictional play with the core asset in Australia, what we're doing in Uganda. And beyond just the exploration side, the former Kalimbe mine in Uganda was a big producer as a Falconbridge mine back in the day, produced 16 million tons of ore over a 20-year period, grading roughly 2% copper, 0.2% on the cobalt side. They weren't looking for cobalt in those days, so it was just stockpiled. And in the mid-70s, Falconbridge left, not because the mine was worked out, but because Idi Amin came to power. There was a civil war, and everyone left the country. So fast forward 50 years, Uganda's been at peace for 30 years. This mine has never been worked out. Our estimates are there's 10 million tons of ore still in the mine itself, but more importantly, in the surrounding mining license, there is significant opportunity for further exploration to expand that resource. So we're really excited. We're in discussions. There's a number of players in discussions, but we think with our team in country, with the development, production, and metallurgic expertise of Jervois, we're really placed to be a player in the restart of the Kalembe mine. So that's where we are in Uganda. Fascinatingly enough, 5 miles away, there's also infrastructure. The big theme in Africa today is obviously towards doing as much as you can in country. In Uganda, we're actually very fortunate that there is a refinery S.G. Bateman built back in the late 90s to process the tailings that came from Kalimbe. So that was a very successful operation for a number of years. The primary tailings were processed, and this is an islanded plant, but the infrastructure is still there. It's on care and maintenance. They keep it in extremely good shape because of they also control the hydro in the region, so they make money. And we think there's the opportunity to expand this further and really make Uganda a hub in East Africa for refining of cobalt, and obviously the associated minerals being copper and nickel as well. So that's Uganda. If we look at Jervois' core flagship asset at the moment in Australia and New South Wales, it's a very large nickel laterite, 160 million tons of resource. It's at the PFS phase. PFS will be due beginning of April. And when it's up and built, this will produce 18,000 tons of nickel a year and about 1.5 thousand tons of cobalt. It'll be a heap leach. Again, the technical prowess of the team we have in Jervois is I would say second to none. The team that we have is the team that actually brought heap leach into Murrin, which was the Glencore asset, which was originally HPAL. The heap leach turned that around into a profitable operation. So we're very excited about this. Great core jurisdiction to have a core asset. And beyond that, we're looking with our East African hub. We think we're very well positioned for Kabanga. Again, a lot of my colleagues on the Jervois side, with their Glencore experience, know that asset well. It's described by many as the best undeveloped nickel sulfide on the planet. You know, with over 1.5 million tons of nickel and over 100,000 tons of cobalt. So very exciting. We're well positioned for that where we're based. And then the company also has a 5% stake in eCobalt. Strategically, we think that could be a really interesting asset. It's an asset that probably should be in production already, and again in another safe jurisdiction in North America. So that's an Idaho-based opportunity. So again, just to finish, come and see Michael and myself at the booth if you want more information. We really are focused on a multi-jurisdictional mid-tier play, and that's what we're looking to build. Thank you very much.